This is someone who we've had on the show since we were on the radio in San Francisco, and he stayed with it. A lot of people would abandon us, but he is tracking with us every step of the way. When it comes to the DC universe, what's the other universe? The Marvel universe?
Marvel, don't pitch and hold me into the superhero world. Come on.
I'm just saying, but when it comes, and then it's some Korean subtitled indie film, animation he knows incredibly well, and music as well. That's why they call him the Culture Blaster, and he is here on Fridays. He comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for Michael Snyder, everybody? Welcome, Michael.
We've already been chewing the fat, but I still want to say hi to you, Mark. Hello, yes. The wondrous Kim, and of course, our stalwart Albert. And I know Tony's out there somewhere. I don't know what he's playing a video game somewhere.
He's working one of his 14 jobs.
It must be it. So I got to say, to begin with, to quote Mr. Colbert, we are all Jimmy Kimmel,
yes, sir.
Especially those of us who do this kind of media. And I got to tell you, yesterday I'm sitting in the Solar de Cahuenga, which is my go-to cafe in Hollywood, and I was approached by two thuggish-looking men in MAGA hats, Roy Cohn T-shirts, and Stephen Miller is my spirit rodent buttons. And they introduced themselves as members of the ICE Un-American Activities Committee, and they asked me, are you now, or have you ever been, a member of the Mark Thompson Show broadcast team?
Oh, my God.
Of course, I stood proudly and responded, absolutely not. And then I asked them if they'd be interested in sponsoring my Friday segment on the show.
Well done. Yeah.
This is astonishing. When Kimmel first came to my attention, he was co-hosting The Man Show with that subhuman Adam Carolla. And I thought, it's Pudge and I guess we'd call him a Neanderthal. And they're doing this chauvinistic stuff about women. But he ended up becoming a staunch fighter for the good.
For women's rights and for freedoms. Rights. And I know Jimmy is, he's amazing. I've known of him and known him since he was on K-Rock. He was doing sports on Kevin and Bean. And since Bean is a pal, I used to listen to that show. I used to love that. But there are all these suggestions as to where he might show up. But it's an abomination.
It's unconscionable.
CC Ryder is saying, who owns Comedy Central? Colbert and Kimmel pairing up would be a ratings bonanza.
Oh, yes.
Smothers Brothers type reboot. But this is the problem with the new America. There are a handful of companies that own everything. So this speaks very much to the problem of contemporary America, which is if you want to go work at Comedy Central, guess who owns Comedy Central? Paramount. So that Paramount universe, which includes CBS, etc., it grows and grows and grows. And soon, so much of this may be taken over by Larry Ellison, who's getting TikTok. So the media empire is not a bunch of different places where you can ply your trade. It's really just a handful of places, and if you're X'd out of one, you're essentially X'd out of a ton of others.
Speaking of consolidation, just one more media note. Larry Ellison is attempting to acquire Warner Brothers. Imagine two studios of the nature of Paramount and Warner Brothers and their affiliates combined into one monolithic thing. It really is a complete opposition to diversity of opinion and diversity of our culture, and I abhor the whole idea. That said, let's continue to feed the giant media beast by doing some film reviews.
All right, go for it.
All right. So, like our friend Michael Shore, I am a sports fan, but unlike him, I'm also a fan of the supernatural. I tend to doubt that somebody so based in reality would be as into the horror movies and sorcery and all that stuff as I am. So I was ready to be carried away by Him, which purports to get up and close and personal with college football star Cameron Cade. This is a new film, Him, and Cade is touted as the next big thing in the pros until he suffers an injury that may derail his dreams. That's how the movie starts out. So to gauge his recovery, Cameron, played by Tariq Withers, he accepts an invitation to train with an aging superstar named Isaiah White, played by Marlon Wayans. So White is the longtime quarterback of a dynastic team that's won as many or more championships than Tom Brady ever did. Arriving at White's remote compound, which is sort of a combination luxury home and a state-of-the-art training facility, Cade finds himself facing physical, mental, and emotional challenges that get increasingly freaky and downright horrific. I mean, Him had such promise. It's produced by Jordan Peele, the actor turned filmmaker who made the scary smart movies Get Out, Us, and Nope. Him is also the third movie from filmmaker Justin Tipping, who, here's a local note for our Northern California friends, he was the writer-director of the very good 2016 low-budget inner-city coming-of-age drama Kicks, which is set in Oakland and a few other locations in the East Bay, and features Mahershala Ali in an important role, tremendous actor. So as far as him, Withers and Wayans and the rest of the cast absolutely deliver the goods, but the script, which is a group effort by Tipping, Zach Akers, and Skip Bronke, isn't sure what it wants to be. Is it a takedown of pro sports excess and overpaid, erroneously worshipped superstar athletes? Is it a horror movie about the body-destroying extremes that those athletes are going to embrace to achieve success? It doesn't quite work in either endeavor. It doesn't succeed as I think it hoped it would. You know, I'd classify him as an interesting misfire, like an attempt at a really long field goal that has the distance but bounces off the goalposts. Him is in theaters. I think it's probably going to play pretty well at home. It's just not what I wanted. It's not greatness. You know, I expected more. Let's put it that way.
I liked what you did there at the end of your review. I don't think I missed it. It is up, hits the upright of the goalpost and bounces. I got what you did because it's a football.
Kick us up. It's
a
good
football.
enough.
All
No,
right. Move on.
All indications suggested that a big, bold, beautiful journey would be an exciting proposition, since this movie pairs up Colin Farrell, who is doing such great work lately on the prestige TV shows The Penguin and Sugar, and has a filmography to conjure with, and Margot Robbie, Barbie, and Harley Quinn herself. And this movie is directed by Kogonada, the screenwriter and director of the indie hits Columbus, which was a romantic drama with John Cho, and After Yang, which was a sci-fi drama with Farrell. And in the case of A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, Kogonada only directs the movie, and I think that's to its detriment. I wish he had written the script here, but the script is the work of Seth Reese, and the script is ambitious in its reach for a romantic drama with fantasy elements, almost magical realism, but it also succumbs to the occasional, unfortunately sticky moment, and like him, it doesn't quite hold together, although in different ways. So Farrell is relationship-wary David, and Robbie is relationship-scuttling Sarah. These are two really attractive singles from the same city who meet at a wedding miles from home, check each other out, and figure that anything further would be a waste of their time, until they're forced by circumstance to share a rental car to get back to the city, and they truly get to know one another on the way. So you got charismatic leads, Farrell and Robbie, and they easily light up, any and all screens. And two of the supporting actors, get this, Kevin Kline and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, they are of the highest caliber here. Although the cast and the direction and the visuals can't be faulted, A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey too often meanders, undercutting the big and the bold in the movie's title as it takes its emotionally damaged twosome, David and Sarah, on a flashback-laden road trip guided by a mystical GPS. That's right, a mystical GPS. Wow. Okay, to be fair, it has its moving moments that are sold by Farrell and Robbie, and those moments are undermined by some messy ones. I rode with it, Mark, even though it's flawed. And if you're at all intrigued, I do think it will play well at home. For now, it's in theaters.
Wow. Like it.
Sort of, but it's flawed. It tries to do.
I like everybody involved, though. You mentioned Colin Farrell, Margot Robbie, Kelvin Kline. I mean, you've hooked me.
Yeah, except be
it meanders too much.
Prepare to be disappointed. Okay, let's turn to Swiped. As Swiped begins, it's the early 2010s, and Whitney Wolfe, an extremely smart and computer-savvy young woman fresh out of college, gets a job at a startup incubator in Los Angeles. In short order, she becomes pivotal to the creation of the groundbreaking dating app Tinder. But a relationship with one of the CEOs at the company goes sour, and so does her standing at the company. So This would be the latest of the tech industry-oriented docudramas and biopics
All right.
that have included Jobs, The Social Network, Tetris, BlackBerry, and Dumb Money, all of which are kind of better than this. And this is pretty perfunctory stuff, despite the latest top-notch performance by the very versatile Lily James as Ms. Wolfe. Lily James, who was Lady Rose on Downton Abbey. She played Pamela Anderson in
Sure.
Pam
Of course, she was
Pam
great.
and Tommy.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. And she's completely different here as Whitney Wolfe, who would go on to solidify her feminist bona fides by creating the woman-driven dating app Bumble. So all of this is on display in this movie, and it's competently directed by Rachel Lee Goldenberg, but it sometimes feels
What
like...
else is Rachel Lee Goldenberg? I don't know that name.
She's not a famous
Yeah, okay.
director,
All
but,
right.
you know, it's...
But she
it's
does a nice job. Okay.
Yeah, relatively speaking. But this sometimes feels like those other movies I mentioned were programmed into an AI video generator, along with ChatGPT Final Draft and a 2019 copy of Modern Woman magazine. Anyway, James carries the whole affair. As a side note, by the way, Dan Stevens plays the Russian tech exec, and oligarchy is implied, who gives Wolf the chance to develop Bumble. And this reunites Stevens with his Downton Abbey castmate, James. He was the noble Earl of Grantham heir, Matthew Crawley. She, again, was the dewy-eyed Lady Rose. Look, it's not terrible. Again, we don't want to put this on the poster, but if we were going to, not terrible.
Another one, not
Snyder.
terrible, yeah.
You know, it's just not as good as those other movies, even if it rightly focused on the issues faced by women and still faced by women in the bro-dominated tech world. Guess what? Swiped is on Hulu. It's a direct to streaming. And, you know, if you have Hulu, I would sit down and watch this thing. It just is not, you know, again, I'm looking for greatness, Mark, and these first three films just disappointed me.
Well, I hate when you're disappointed. When you're disappointed, it's a disappointment of an entire community.
Are you ready for a couple movies I can enthusiastically
Thank you.
cheer
Please,
on?
please.
Okay, let's talk briefly about The Summer Book. Now, The Summer Book is about a man, his daughter, and the daughter's grandmother spending a little summer time on a Finnish island where the family has a small rustic house. And
I like it so far.
And this is kind of a bit of a coming of age, coming to understand what's going on. This young girl, who is played by a very kind of spookily capable young actress by the name of what the hell is her name? Emily Matthews. She plays the kid Sophia, and she's really, really good.
How old is she?
She must be about
15?
8, 9, 10.
Wow.
She's a kid. Grandmother is played by Glenn Close. She's superb and very believable, playing a very elderly grandmother with the aid of some seamless makeup. It reminded me a little bit of Pierce Brosnan's work in The Last Rifleman, where this handsome man in his 70s, you know, he's no spring chicken, but they make him look like he's in his 90s. And I kind of think they did the same thing with Glenn Close here. She is wonderful. And even though this is kind of a languidly paced film, the beauty of the seaside area, the way the islands in that area, it's kind of like an
You like the
archipelago.
vibe of this film is what I'm
absolutely.
getting. You like the vibe.
And again, this is kind of about a young girl's growing awareness of the beauty and fragility of life, and of course the looming specter of death. Her mom has died. Dad is a single father.
I see.
And, you know, meanwhile, this is based on Tove Janssen's beloved novel of the same name, the Summer Book. And it's in select theaters and directed by Charlie McDowell, who obviously, this is a labor of love, and was just done with a lot of care and affection. And everybody delivers in this thing. It's a lovely, lovely movie.
Love it. I'll ding languidly. Yeah, very well done. What else do you have for us?
Okay. In Plain Clothes, this is another movie I thought, wow, this is pretty good. And these are the ones that kind of, I fear they fall through the cracks because they're not big budget.
I'm going to like this just based on the title.
In Plain Clothes, it's 1997 in a suburban upper New York state town, and homosexuality is still vilified, even if it's become more accepted in the enlightened circles of places such as New York or Los Angeles. A young policeman named Lucas is part of a sting unit to bust gay men soliciting sex in public restrooms, such as one in the local mall. But this guy is conflicted because he himself is a closeted homosexual.
I see.
So we connect with Lucas at his mom's New Year's Eve party, where he misplaces a letter that presumably admits his true sexuality, but he didn't intend to be seen by friends or family. I guess it was just to pour his heart out. In any case, as his anxiety mounts, someone may discover the letter. We see the events of the recent past, including a pivotal relationship with a man that comes about as a result of Lucas's undercover activities. So Plainclothes is a very dark, painful, and powerful movie from an up-and-coming screenwriter-director named Carmen Emmy. It's blessed by a note-perfect performance by Tom Blythe as the tormented Lucas, and an equally on-point turn by veteran British actor Russell Tovey, who was in some really great shows that you can get on streaming. Being Human, which is like a bunch of monsters, but well-meaning creatures living together. I can't remember whether he was like a werewolf or a ghost. Anyway, it was great. He's been on Doctor Who, etc. He plays Andrew, the older man who introduces Lucas to an intimacy that's going to change Lucas in profound ways. But it's also going to threaten Lucas's career as a cop. I thought Plainclothes was very well done, and it is in select theaters. And again, I think like the summer book, it will also play well at home. But, I love the idea of supporting these little films.
Yeah, you want to get to those indie theaters. I also like the fact that they're indie theaters. Not many people know about some of these titles, and so you don't have to sit there with a bunch of people on their phone who are chatting and, throwing popcorn at each other.
That's for sure.
All
okay.
Right. It's not like your superhero movies.
No.
You have to put up with a bunch of chatter.
I know, don't even.
From, miscreants.
Okay, let's quickly wrap things up with a couple others. London Calling may have a promising title for a crime comedy. And it's a title that you just know is going to bring the stirring Clash song of the same name onto the soundtrack. You just know it's going to happen. There is a properly square-jawed lead in Josh Duhamel, and he plays a hitman of declining skills and passions. But London Calling is clunky. The occasional amusing scene aside, it kind of wastes Duhamel, whose time-worn weariness has made him a more interesting performer. As he's gotten older, he's, kind of developed a little bit more depth. And it also has the great Irish actor Aidan Gillen in a smaller role as a gang boss who travels to Los Angeles to eliminate Duhamel's character after a London hit gone wrong. So,
I like it. So what goes wrong? What don't you like?
It's just silly. He ends up working for kind of a thuggish
Amazon factory?
No. Like kind of a mid-level mob boss in Los Angeles who wants him to mentor his doughy little son, who's a disappointment to him. He wants to bring him into the family business of crime, so he gets Duhamel's hitman to bring him along on a hit. And they're looking for comedy, and so it just didn't really work for me. Alan Ungar directed and co-wrote the screenplay. I wish it had been better. I go into these things with an open heart and an open mind.
Sure you do. And not everybody can fill that heart. Not every project can be part of that filling.
Here's something I can recommend, although not everybody may like it. We'll wrap up with the charmingly titled Waltzing with Brando. Mm-hmm. It is a diverting mix of biopic and comedy based on the late 60s and early 70s career and the Tahitian residence, ENCE, of iconic and iconoclastic actor Marlon Brando. So it's written and directed by Bill Fishman, and it is worthwhile. It's
a drama. It's a biopic. It's a drama. Then.
Yeah, it's
not a documentary.
It's also a comedy. No, it's a
It's a dramedy.
Well, yes and no, but it's got biographical elements.
Okay.
Yeah. So look,
it's a reimagined life of Brando. Maybe I should
let
you
do
the review.
No, it's not reimagined. It's attempting to actually depict in amusing fashion what went on with this attempt on Brando's part to build a compound on a Tahitian island that's pretty much off the beaten track. So, the real reason to see this is an uncanny and incredibly compelling performance by Billy Zane as Brando.
Wow.
You will believe it's Brando.
That's so cool.
So Zane is paired up with, of all people, John Heder of Napoleon Dynamite fame as the L.A. architect that Brando befriends and hires to design this secluded, eco-friendly home on a remote Tahitian island, and the project grows more and more expensive and unwieldy, spiraling out of control. Again, this is all based on
untrue
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah. So Heater seems an odd choice to play the architect whose loving wife and daughter are frequently left back home in L.A. as he caters to Brando's whims. But this, he's like that lanky, perpetually goofy guy, and he does give his all in the role. And supporting those guys, Richard Dreyfuss, Rob Corddry, and Tia Carrere round out the pros in the cast. And the cast also includes James Jagger, Mick's son, who's pretty good as a local banker and part of Brando's Tahitian entourage. There are gorgeous, much like the movie The Summer Book, there are gorgeous vistas. Although these are Polynesian, there's lovely exotic music on the soundtrack, and Zane is a wonder as Brando, and he's even digitally incorporated into old video footage with Dick Cavett. There's a famous
terrific.
Dick Cavett Brando interview that they reproduced.
They were pals.
And he also plays in some reproduced scenes from Brando classics, including The Godfather, Last Tango in Paris, and Apocalypse Now. And the movie contends these are jobs he took to help pay for his Tahitian project. And anyway, Waltzing with Brando, it's not a perfect film. It gets a little silly. Again, Heater seems maybe somewhat miscast, but Zane is amazing. And the story is really, really cool. It is in select theaters.
Wow, you have really served up a wonderment of magical offerings today, Michael Snyder. Waltzing with Brando, the biopic and comedy, featuring the Tahitian residents and the landscape of the wondrous place that Brando was building and did build. He liked it. He says it's not perfect, falters a bit in some places, a little over the top at times, but he really loves Billy Zane as Brando. He says it's an absolutely remarkable role for Billy Zane.
It's as good work as he's ever done in his career, I think.
By the way,
personal friend of yours, have you played poker with Billy Zane?
No. CC Ryder said, I heard about the making of this a while back and Zane's astonishing performance. So there's a buzz about it that's even extended into our chat, is my point.
Excellent.
London Calling is the Josh Duhamel thing. He plays a hitman. The Culture Blaster feels that Josh is wasted here, that his true talents are really not on display sufficiently. The movie falls short a bit. But it's in theaters.
It is. Select theaters.
Plain Clothes is the 1997 set film, the gay life that was still vilified in even as recent a time as 1997. A young cop busting gay men, picking each other up. He himself gay, though, and that leads to a conflict and a drama that you like. It's a British cast.
No, it is not. It is Russell Tovey is British.
Oh, I see.
I don't know the actual national province of.
Okay. Well, anyway, I was working off the fact that the one guy was British.
Yeah,
but
well
it's
done.
not a British cast.
Well done. But yeah, it's he does find intimacy with this older man
Who is British.
No, he's playing an American. The actor is British. For God's sake, it's acting, Mark.
You just don't get it, do you?
I don't.
You don't.
I don't get
You
it.
do your best, though.
I'm
I think
sorry.
you do.
Anyway, he likes it. You really liked it,
I thought it was a
actually.
very good movie.
Yeah, Plain Clothes is what it's called, and it's in theaters. The Summer Book takes place on the Finnish island at a rustic family house. Emily Matthews and a coming-of-age story that Michael really liked. He felt that it's both stunningly beautiful, apparently, and also powerful as a coming-of-age film.
It's moving and quiet and has that quiet power. And Glenn Close is at the height of her powers.
Swiped is the movie directed by a director we're not familiar with, but she does a fine job, Rachel Lee Goldenberg. Lily James is in this film. It's a tech-oriented offering, is what Michael was saying. That's sort of the story. And sadly, Michael feels that Lily James is really good. She does all the heavy lifting, but the movie falls short.
A little bit. She's great. It's great to get that story and about a woman dealing with, again, like I said, bro-dominated tech world. It's another app origin story, and we've seen a number of them in the past few years.
Swiped is the name of the movie.
Not bad. It's on Hulu, you know.
Yeah. A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey is the relationship movie. Colin Farrell, Margot Robbie. What could go wrong? Kevin Kline is in it. Well,
Phoebe Waller-Bridge doing a terrible German accent.
it meanders. There are moving moments, but Michael felt in the end, again, it fell short. Not horrible, but just falling a little short of the potential that the Culture Blaster felt was on display.
It's a little messy. And,
he says you can see it in theaters. Him was the movie that he started with, H-I-M. Jordan Peele produced it. It's a football movie, or is it a horror movie? It's a mix of both. Michael just felt it missed. And as a result, he cannot recommend him. I want to ask you, Great Culture Blaster, there were some last-second questions for you that came into the chat.
Well, I'll field what needs to be fielded.
Does the Culture Blaster recommend, asks Sergio Sanchez for the $5 super chat, the canceling of Disney, Hulu, Paramount in retaliation for Kimmel? What is your recommendation, Great Culture Blaster?
This is a problem that I wrestled with, by the way, coming in here, because, again, Swipe is on Hulu. I watch the Marvel stuff. I found it really instructive that Tatiana Maslany, the Emmy-winning actress from Orphan Black, who plays Jennifer Walters, the She-Hulk in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, basically said that people should cancel their subscriptions to these things. And I understand that. People are saying make them pay with your pocketbook or whatever the proper cliche is along those lines. It's hard for me to want to attack culture or basically lock up culture, particularly if it's good.
You're essentially you're saying, if I can summarize your thoughts, you're saying that the arts exist in all of these different places, and by boycotting, you, in a sense, are boycotting creativity and the arts.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the best way to do this is to boycott sponsors on the broadcast arms, but these companies are getting money for streaming subscriptions.
Just for the subscription.
That's
exactly.
and they're the carrot is the movie or the TV program, and it's a tough thing to say, and I'm conflicted myself.
CC Ryder asks, "Oh, Great Culture Blaster, I'm wondering what top 3 movies are on your all-time favorite list."
Well, I'm going to seem like what they say in jazz circles is a moldy fig, and I'm going to say that my top 3 films, if you just held a gun to my head and said, what are they? I would say Sullivan's Travels, the great Preston Sturges movie.
Hold on one second. I think we can take off the hymn, Albert.
This is for those of us who are watching the video.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. Again, you like what?
Sullivan's Travels, I think, is the greatest movie ever made.
Wow.
And it's by Preston Sturges, and it's all about, what the power of art, which is something we kind of touched on in my response to the question about canceling ABC, Hulu, Disney Plus. My second, and it's almost, neck and neck, Citizen Kane, the great Orson Welles biography.
I'm not familiar with it, but
don't pull my leg, Mark. And the
Sullivan's Travels, Citizen Kane, and what else?
Probably Duck Soup, the Marx Brothers.
Wow.
Comedy poem about anarchy. I think it's just phenomenal. It's one of the most brilliant anti-war movies ever made, and it is a knockdown, drag-out comedy that always makes me laugh, despite the fact that it was made in the late 1930s, if I'm not mistaken.
Michael, I so enjoy our time together. Sadly, it has ended. You can find Michael Snyder at Voice of SF.
TheVoiceSF.org, where I put a piece about the final Downton Abbey effort. The Downton Abbey, I guess it's called the grand finale.
Yeah. TheVoiceSF.org.
Yes,
TheVoiceSF.org. And his musings about other offerings there at TheVoiceSF.org. He's here on Fridays. He comes and goes on a rainbow.
Lashana Tova.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year to you.
To all my Jewish friends. We'll see you next week, man.
All right, Michael. Very well done.